Hello. Ooh, first Twilight on the third episode. Koda was doing the nighttime rounds. Arkanjima had always been empty, except for the Ushiromaya family household. So checking that doors and windows were all closed had no real purpose. However, ever since the time Natsuki had condemned such an attitude as being careless, the nighttime rounds had become part of the servants' daily routine. In the first place, Natsuki had ordered this because of the occasional witch disturbances. Everyone who came and left this island knew about the legend of Beatrice, the Witch of the Forest. It had become established that this island's characteristic ghost story. Because of that, it was only natural that some people would claim that, when they thought they were alone in the mansion, they would hear a strange sound or see the shadow of a person. However, when that created a little too much of a disturbance and reached Natsuki's ears, he made a fuss, thinking that some suspicious person might have been entering and leaving. Apparently, she had roused all the servants and had to check throughout the mansion. Because all that panic over the witch had happened before Goda's arrival, he had only heard about it from the more senior servants. Ghost stories like that could be found in any workplace. Even at the hotels and restaurants Goda had worked at, there had been plenty of them. So when he heard about that story on this island, he did give it a forced smile, thinking, so they have that kind of thing here after all. That forced smile aside, he had figured that, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and had taken it seriously. Goda went along with it on the outside, but in his heart, he'd assumed it to be a childish trick. At first, that is.
これは確かに不気味ですね。なるほど。過去の使用人たちがいろいろと騒ぎたくなる気持ちもわかるものです。
He could understand how someone doing the rounds on an eerie night like this might believe they'd seen a ghost if they saw a lace curtain waving in the breeze from a window that hadn't been closed.
肖像画の魔女をバカにするとたたりがあるか。大怪我をして辞めた使用人もいるらしいし。怪我は勘弁だな。俺もこの年だ。二度とこんな厚遇の職場には恵まれねえだろうよ。肖像画の魔女様、真面目に働きますんで、一つ穏便に頼みます。
Goda prayed to the portrait, his hands together as though he was at a Shinto shrine. At that time, he thought he heard a sound. The kitchen. Was that the sound of something metal falling on the floor? Maybe a mouse or a cockroach had come out and knocked over some of the dishes. No. How could that be? It was usually cleaned thoroughly. Thinking he'd check out what that noise really had been, Goda entered the kitchen. He turned on the kitchen light. When he did, he heard a strange sound. Clink, 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 clink. To a cook like Goda, the sound felt like the lid on a pressure cooker or something shaking. Surely, there wouldn't be a pot on the burner when no one was in the kitchen. Even if someone was using the gas, walking away from it would be quite dangerous. Just in case, Goda decided to inspect the area around the gas range.
何ですか？これは。
When he did, in the corner with the gas range, the pressure cooker really had been set out, just as he thought, but the flame wasn't on. And yet, the lid was clanking. Was something fermenting and leaking gas? How could that be? Then was there a mouse or something inside? How could there be? Ridiculous. When people were watching, Goda acted as though he had a bold personality fitting for his build, but he actually had an unexpectedly timid side to him. He was frightened that there might be something inside, and he couldn't bring himself to check it carelessly. In his cowardice, he grabbed a nearby wooden pestle, and with a clunk, he tapped it a little forcefully against the side of the pressure cooker. When he did, the clinking sound suddenly stopped. He should have been relieved that it had stopped, but the fact that it had stopped when he'd hit it was even more eerie and made him even more suspicious about what was inside.
この世に怪奇現象なんて存在しませんとも。そんな魔女も魔法もそんなもの存在するわけがない。すべての現象は科学的に説明できるんです。 お化けも魔女もいてたまるもんですか。
He repeated that many times, trying to build up his own confidence. The gap between what he was saying and what he was doing was quite comical.
何が魔女だ、何が魔法だ、たたりだ。そら、正体を見せてみろ。そら。
He removed the lid of the pressure cooker, and lying exposed there was the sparkling clean silver bottom of the pot. There was absolutely nothing frightening like he'd imagined.
そりゃ当然です。中に何もいるわけがない。
By now, Goda realized that he had been a coward. So while he still had some doubts as to what had caused the lid to make that sound, he figured it wasn't a big problem and decided not to worry about it too much. Then he took the lid he'd grabbed and softly set it back down where it had been. It's fine. It won't make a sound. Of course it won't. As if witches or magic could exist. Clink, 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 clink. Clink, 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 clink. Clink, 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 clink. All the pots and dishes in the kitchen started clanking at once. It grew even stronger, so that finally the lid to one of the pots fell off, and from inside that pot, a slender white arm reached out. Lids fell off the other pots one after another, and another, and another.
魔女なんかいるもんか。信じるもんか。
When the number of arms grew to 7, a loud shrill laughter split the air.
かっこり。これほどの美味しいお料理を作れる人がこんな小物なんて本当にがっかり。あんたいらないなら私がもらうわ。いっただき。ちょっとダメだってば。私がもらうんだから。
いや
Search. There's only one more. That old hag. Where is she? She isn't in the mansion. What about the guest house? First one wins. First one wins. Right? Come on. Search. Find her. They'll be noticed by their relatives in the dining hall. Right. They'll get noticed by the kids in the guest house. Right. Search in silence. Kill in silence. After all, it's still just the first twilight. She isn't in the guest house. But she wasn't in the mansion either. Right? Hey, I found her. She's in the rose garden. Why is she standing around there without an umbrella? She's already given up. All mine. Blockheads could just sit there and watch. I told you, no, this one's mine. Come on, if we take any longer, we're scolded by Beatrice on. Let's take care of it all at once. Beatrice on. There, found her, surrounded her. Come on, let's get along and do it all at once, okay? Die!
What? やんちゃなお嬢さんたちだこと。あの子のお友達かしら。
何こいつ。ババアのくせに。何かの間違いよ。もう一度。こいつ、どうして私たちを防げるの？どいて！もう一度よ！
何度やっても無駄だ。この誤人、できる。
私はあの子を待っているのです。どうか呼んできてはくれませんか？
そのようなデッチ暴行、私たちがすると思う？
その必要はない。
ベアトリーチェ様。
私が権限するほどでございます。必ずやお目覚めと思いました。
ロノウェイ、久しぶりですね。本当に久しぶりです。
こいつロノウェ様を呼びつけに。
そしてあなたもお久しぶりですね、ベアトリーチェ。
こいつベアトリーチェ様までも呼びつけに。
よい。そのお方をどなたと心得るか。ベアトリーチェとはそもそもそのお方の名。わらわはそれを受け継いだに過ぎぬ。そのお方こそは先代ベアトリーチェ教だ。
先代ベアトリーチェ教。
Gold butterflies appeared in ones and twos from the garden of roses and began to gather around Umineko. Then, after she was wrapped in a golden sparkle, she burst and disappeared. Umisawa's form was no longer there. Instead, there was another golden witch, the one who once taught the path of an endless witch to Beatrice, and the only person Beatrice ever called nature. Her hair was long, beautiful, and vividly youthful, and her figure in that elegant dress couldn't possibly have been mistaken for an old lady. No, this looked like a completely different person from Umineko.
これはお師匠様。再びお会いできる日が訪れるとは夢にも思いませんでした。
ええ、私もですよ。夜もまた眠りを妨げられるとは夢にも思いませんでした。
まったく厄介なところでお目覚めになられる。いつもの通りお休みであられたなら第一の晩を何も手こずることなく終えられるのに。いや、むしろ歓迎すべきですかな。少々退屈しておりましたところで。
相変わらず悪趣味な遊びで罪もない人々をもてあそんでいるようですね。無限の魔女の力は決して人に迷惑をかけることに使ってはならないと何度も教えたはずですよ。
そう言うなよ、お師匠様。退屈は私たちの天敵じゃありませんか。それから逃れるためのちょっとしたスパイスに過ぎませんよ。侵食が進めば進むほどにわらわの力は強くなり、わらわの眷属は呼び出しやすくなる。しかしそれは同時にお師匠様の封印を解くことにもつながったとはな。
それを予見していたからこそ私はこうしてあなたのすぐ近くで眠りについたのですよ。願わくば二度と起こされぬことを夢見ながら。こうしてあなたと再会してしまったのは私にとってはとても悲しいことです。
相変わらずお師匠様は食えないな。
ロノウェ、家具の子たちを下げなさい。家具は主に仕えるだけです。すべての罪は主が背負います。
かしこまりました、マダム・ベアトリーチェ。
その名はもうその子に譲りました。さあ下がりなさい、家具の娘たち。私は一度聞かぬとしても二度言います。しかし三度目は口にしませんよ。
下がりなさい、煉獄の七姉妹。巻き添いになれば塵と化しますよ。
下がれみんな。
Rove and the seven sisters of Purgatory retreated. After that, what remained was the Beatrice whose daring expression didn't falter, and the teacher, Beatrice, who had given up that name in war composed.
さて、お師匠様、久しぶりの再会にはどんなお茶のご用意が良いかな。
そうですね。ほうき星の訪れよりも久しい再会です。もてなしてもらいましょうか。粗相があるようならば我が名と無限返してもらいますよ。
無限の魔女にも免許更新制度があったとはな。仰せのままに、お師匠様、あなたの弟子がどれほど立派になったか、そしてとっくの昔にどれほどあなたを凌駕したか、とくとご覧に入れましょう。
The air between the two Beatrices seemed to explode with sparks. Just by glaring at each other, they purged all spirits from that space. As they watched, the seven sisters shivered. After all, if they had retreated just 3 steps less than they had, they would already have been turned to dust by now.
さあ、いらっしゃい、ベアトリーチェ。あなたにその名を譲ったことが私の生涯でただ一度の後悔です。その過ちを今自らの手で修正しましょう。
そりゃあ違うぜ、お師匠様。わらわのただ一度の過ちはこの程度の力を学ぶのにあんたに弟子入りしちまったことだぜ。なんだ魔法だ。何が無限の魔女だ。こんなの気づくだけの力じゃねえかよ。それをもったいぶって偉そうによ。お前の出番はとっくに終わってんだよ、お師匠様よ。
もう、わけがわからねえ。一体、目の前で何が起こってんだ。
かわいそう。私の弟子が迷惑をかけていますね。謝ります。
あんた、何者なんだ。熊沢のばあちゃんが、どうしてこんな姉ちゃんに化けるんだ。つうか、あんた誰だよ。わけがわからねえ。これは何の特撮なんだ。俺は頭がどうにかなっちまいそうだ。
私はあの子の魔女の師匠です。かつての名はベアトリーチェ。あの子が私を継ぐ時にその名を送ったため今は名を持ちません。
あんたがすでに言い切っちまってるが、俺はあんたの弟子のせいで大いに迷惑しているぜ。頼むから責任取って何とかしてくれ。じゃなくて、俺はこんなの信じねえぞ。魔女も魔法もあるもんか。こんなめちゃくちゃバトル俺は認めねえぞ。くそったな。俺は何を信じりゃいいんだ。
あなたらしいとても短気なもてなしですね。
さすがお師匠様。この程度じゃバカバカしくてまぶたを開く気にもならないらしい。島ごとぶっ壊す気でなきゃ無理らしいぜ。さあさあおいでなさい、双剣の戦闘。
You're response to Beatrice's summons, a terrific earth tremor split the rose garden. On either side of her shoulders, two massive war towers sprouted and stabbed into the heavens. They stretched up to 100 merit tall and each had over 360 ports. They were war towers of the gods' army corps, which had prevented even groups of ancient heroes from invading their sacred grounds. But Beatrice elegantly floated in the gap between the massive two-headed towers. She looked down at her teacher sneering with a sense of absolute superiority. The two massive towers lined up behind her shoulders, which looked very small, like a butterfly dancing between huge trees.
蝶に化ければかわせるとか思うなよ。双子塔の弾幕密度じゃあんた虫ピンの昆虫標本どころかめった刺しの針刺し人形だぜ。
Over 720 ports opened on the towers, and godly soldiers readied their multi-shot ballistas.
それであなたの手番は終了ですか？
それが遺言かよ。ぶっ放せ
Ballista shots that numbered over 1,000 were all fired at once, drawing a beautiful geometric curtain of death. The border sound as the bowstrings were played was probably even deeper than that of a reaper swinging its sickle.
さあさあおいでなさい。墜落せし塔よ。一なる言語をはぜ、その罪を知らしめよ。
The sky was stained in incandescent red. From between the clouds, a blazing massive tower fell upside down. That massive falling tower and its rubble sucked in the thousands of ballista shots, so that not one of them approached the body of the witch who had summoned it. That's right, no group of people, no matter how large, could approach the mysteries of heaven. That was the reality of the fallen tower.
さすがお師匠様。いちいちやることがでけえや。
私の手番は終わりませんよ。さあさあおいでなさい。イバルディの息子たち、我にふさわしき槍を与えたまえ。
As the massive crimson tower that had fallen made a terrible gold-colored explosion, a massive spear appeared from inside those flames, so tall, like a tower, that you had to look up to see all of it. It was too large even for a giant's hand. That divinely beautiful spear of the gods was so massive, it gave the illusion of the fallen tower to turn into a spear of the same size. It was a spear of certain victory that none could escape.
無用の双子塔ですね。自ら左右の退路を断つとは愚かしい。一本の槍をもお前は防げない。
She snapped her fingers in command. The massive tower-sized spear shot at Beatrice like a lightning bolt. It aimed right for the middle of the center of the golden witch's heart with extreme precision, and she danced in the gap between the towers like a butterfly, slicing straight through the air like a flash of lightning.
こんなところでグングニルが弾けるとは。やっぱりお師匠様はすげえな。はぜろ役立たずの塔。いでよ巨人兵の戦列よ。その盾と胸で神なる槍を防ぎきれ。
Shoulder war towers exploded in gold. They became several billion gold butterflies. Those butterflies took the shape of 7 massive armored shoulders. Each stretched a full 50 marut into the sky, and then they lined up in front of Beatrice, protecting their master and holding massive shields that towered like windmills. They were as massive as a mountain reach. The witch behind them was like a small moon hiding behind the mountain. Once in the past, when the massive shields these giants held had been readied by the whole regiment, they had protected King Wilhelm's castle not only from arrows, but from the wind and the rain. For when they had faced upwards and held their shields to the heavens, not a single raindrop had gotten through.
愚かな神聖への敬いを忘れた魔女の哀れなことです。神の槍を巨人ごときで防げるとお思いですか？
道理ですね。人間の金属でいくら武装しようとも神の槍は防げません。マダムの見事なエポレットメイトです。
そんなベアトリーチェ様。
もちろん忘れませんともお師匠様。さあさあおいでなさい。 ヘパイストスと弟子たち、我にふさわしき盾を与えたまえ。
A golden whirlwind arose at the feet of the giant soldiers, with a cloud of countless butterflies. They attached themselves to the master's shield like gold leaf, sparkling like they were a gold mirror. It was the absolute defensive wall given to a goddess by the chief of the gods, the aged shield. When the holy sphere, which left a dignified tail behind it like a comet, crashed into the mountain range of the gold shield, there was a terrible thunderous roar. It was the creaking of the pillars that held up the heavens. The divine spear spun around and around, and was sent flying in the direction of the setting sun.
ありえない。真相を防いだ。
いいえ、違います。神なる槍が避けたのです。絶対の槍と絶対の盾は争ってはいけないのが神々の掟。それはつまり防いだのと同じことですがね。
このような荒事ばかり腕を上げましたね。
むしろお師匠様はこういうお遊びが相変わらず苦手なようで、わらわからのお返しだ。法典にのっとり、槍には槍でお返ししましょうぞ。
The giant soldier battle line, which had fully blocked the divine spear, released its holy gold shields. The shields fell to the earth, making the ground shake. When they did, another gold whirlwind arose. The 7 gold shields changed their form into 7 massive spears of lightning lying on the ground. At once, each of the giants lifted one of their legs high, firmly stomped on the tips of the hammers. As the earth shook with a thunderous sound, the 7 lightning spears spun beautifully and flew up above the giant soldiers' heads, scattered into a golden splash and began to fall before the giants. Each of the giants squared off, and with the force of their whole body, they kicked and smashed them. The broken pieces numbered exactly 30 and became lightning spears of exactly the same size as the original, which made 210 for the 7 giants, and all of those burst at once, each splitting into 30 thorns for a total of 6,300. They became a barrage of thunderclouds drawing a beautiful geometric pattern, and then each changed into 3 bolts of lightning, so that 18,900 thunderbolts shot at the predecessor Beatrice. That's a lot.
さすがやりますね、マダムは。
That bundle of almost 20,000 thunderbolts must have reduced the teacher's body to dust. If there had been no resistance, Beatrice knew immediately that she had been fooled. At that time, in the direction that the sun had supposedly set, he felt the impossible rays of sunlight. A brilliant ray of light shone in her profile. It was the figure of her teacher, holding aloft the spear of the gods that had supposedly been repelled a short while ago. She bore a sparkle like the sun on her back and made it shine like on the incarnation of darkness. As Beatrice watched, she was trapped like a mouse in a cage, cornered in a dead-end form by the giant soldier battle line. By now, the predecessor Beatrice seized the citizen directly alongside that line.
これでお遊戯の時間はおしまいですよ、ベアトリーチェ。
このわらわが側面を許しただと。
Her bold expression hadn't faltered even once, but now it twisted for the first time. Faster than Beatrice could flick her tongue, the predecessor Beatrice released the holy spear. As it leapt through the air, it changed its form once more.
さあさあおいでなさい、ドベルグの兄弟たち。我に巨人を砕きし天の鉄槌を与えたまえ。巨人兵ども、わらわを守れ。何をしているか、ノロマども。
Whose egg, by now, was no longer a spear. The whirlwind of a massive hammer that raised a sound like a windstorm as it flew through the air. It was the legendary hammer that had shaken even the king of the frost giants, though the giant soldiers couldn't escape from that fear. So, regardless of how strongly their master ordered them, they couldn't get in the path of that hammer.
バックランクメイト、安らかに眠り
Enemy
なさい。
fight!
しょー。
Before the whirlwind of that massive chunk of metal, Beatrice was nothing more than a mere speck. The instant the whirlwind started to suck Beatrice in, she appeared to change into a massive war tower. The iron hammer fast smashed the war tower, scattering tremendous amounts of rubble, but it did not reach she who had escaped behind it. Furthermore, when the smoke started to settle, the war tower had sucked in the massive iron hammer without crumbling, and blocked the way. Even the giant smashing iron hammer couldn't break through the final tower protecting the witch. However, this war tower is actually the witch's last trump card. It was a war tower for dodging that could only save her from danger once. But this tower was impregnable. No weapon could break through it. At that time, the moon disappeared. As Beatrice hid in the shadows of the giant soldier battle line in the war tower, she looked up at the sky. When she did, beside the moon was the figure of a massive horse ridden by the god of war and death. The predecessor Beatrice rode the horse with him. His cloak had blocked the moon and swallowed it in an eerie shadow. The spear of the gods was in his hand once more. In other words, it was a godly knight who had jumped over the ramparts formed by the giant soldiers in the war tower, attacking from the heavens.
スマザードメイ楽しかったですよベアトリーチ
Father made the struggle to the death between the two witches with the same name was over. Spirit and the launch from the heavens pierced the ground. The giant soldier battle line in the war tower split up into countless gold butterflies, wrapping the area in a gold-colored storm. Then came the sound of thunder, the sound of the falling rain and wind. If you looked around, the rose garden was empty. The butler and the rest were watching the two witches confronting each other. The Beatrice alone changed. She had been pierced straight through by the spear, from the base of her neck and her right shoulder to her left buttocks, unable to even reach the ground with her feet, horribly exposed like a pitiful pinned butterfly, tormented by the wind and rain.
ベアトリーチェ様。
さすが恐ろしいお方です。
これで決着ですベアトリーチェ
Beatrice wore a bitter smile of false courage, but a strand of blood dangled from her mouth, making her look even more
無
pitiful.
限の魔女の称号と力そしてベアトリーチェの名を今こそ返してもらいましょう無限の魔女を語るにはお前は未熟が過ぎます
やめて許しておくれよお嬢様ちょっとふざけただけじゃねえかよ
あなたから我が名を奪います元の姿に戻してあげましょう過ぎたる力を手放し己にふさわしい生を全うするがよいでしょうさあさあ思い出してごらんなさいあなたがどんな姿をしていたのか
Predecessor Beatrice began to recite the words of power. When she did, small gold butterflies gathered near the spear of Beatrice and began to swarm about her. Like butterflies sucking the nectar out of flowers, they began to suck the magical power out of Beatrice, and it seemed to cause her intense pain. A cry of anguish issued from Beatrice's mouth. She no longer had any power to resist it.
さあさあ目を閉じてごらんなさい思い出してごらんなさいあなたがどんな姿をしていたのかさあベアトリーチェあなたも私と一緒に復唱なさい一緒にお歌を歌いましょうそうすればすぐに終わりますねあなたの苦痛が少しでも早く終わります
そうだなお師匠様と一緒にお歌を歌うなんてどれくらいぶりかな
さあ一緒にさあさあ思い出してごらんなさいあなたがどんな姿をしていたのか
さあさ 思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。
When the two of them began to recite the same song, more and more butterflies danced around. More and more gold butterflies danced around, swarming around Beatrice.
大丈夫ですよ、お嬢様。あなたは私の弟子であることを失いますが、私の仕えるお嬢様であることに変わりはありません。そうしたらまた一緒にご本を読んで差し上げましょう。リンゴのパイを焼いて差し上げましょう。昔のように。さあさあ、思い出してごらんなさい。
思い出してごらんなさい。そろそろ思い出せてきたかな。なあ、お師匠様。あんたの後ろにあるそれ、思い出したかな。
何ですか？これは。
Behind you. When the predecessor Beatrice looked behind her, there was an eerie hedgehog curled up there. No, it was self. There was another predecessor Beatrice. His whole body had been packed with ballista shots, lying there like a pincushion doll.
さあさあ、思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。違うか。さあさあ、思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどうやって殺されたのか。
The predecessor Beatrice was stunned. Her form gradually began to fade away.
これは
Oh.
いつの間に。
最初に呼んだのは双剣の塔ではない。四つ子の塔だったのよ。お師匠様の左右はるかに潜んだ隠し塔が描くセブンスランクルークの死の境界線を、お師匠様はのこのこと踏み越えてきてくれた。チェックの発生が遅れてしまったことだけはマナー違反。率直に謝ろうぞ。
The battle had been decided at the very beginning. It had been over since the time the predecessor had leaned forward, readying her holy spear to attack Beatrice, who had been wedged between her shoulder towers. The hidden towers working on either side had bathed her in a windstorm of ballista shots from 720 ports on both sides, pinning and killing her. However, Beatrice hadn't wanted it to be resolved like that. She had wanted to let her teacher take her next move, and continued acting as though the game was still on. He had immediately revived her with the endless power, and made her continue the game as though nothing had happened. Then, the predecessor slowly remembered that she had already been killed, and began to vanish completely. When she did, the spear that had pierced Beatrice also vanished. Beatrice finally landed on the ground. There wasn't even a trace of the spot.
楽しかったぞ、お師匠様。また遊びたくなったらいつでも蘇らせてやるよ。それで適当に遊んだら死体だったことをまた思い出させてやるからさ。なあ、ちゃんとあんたの言いつけは守ってるぜ。おもちゃは遊び終わったらちゃんとおもちゃ箱にしまいましょうって
楽勝でございますかな。
な。愚かな心象だ。四つ子島で騙せてなかったら死んでおったのはわらわの方よ。さすがはお師匠様だが、これで胸が張れるというもの。わらわは今こそお師匠様を完全に超えたとな。ロノウェ、お師匠様の亡骸をもう少しマシにしておけ。わらわもそこまで敬意を失ってはおらぬでな。
かしこまりました。今宵の第一の晩は少々派手に暴れすぎました。少しは片付けも必要でしょう。 すぐに取り掛かります。ヤギたちよ、お片付けの時間ですよ。
Nornove snapped his fingers. Blazing, sparkling eyes began to blink open in the shadows and dark, becoming goat-headed attendants that appeared one after another. One by one, they wordlessly stood at attention in a line behind Nornove's back.
この度は6人の遺体をどのようにいたしますか。また密室形式に。
わらわは今それを考える気分にない。どの上に任す。バトラーを悩ませるようなとびっきりの密室を頼むぞ。
かしこまりました。それではとびきりの。
それ、バトラはどこだ？バトラー！わらわの大活躍見た？
ちくしょー、今のめちゃくちゃな魔法の嵐を見せつけられて、俺は何を否定すればいいんだ。魔女はいるも何も、あんなドッカンドッカン凄まじいファンタジーを見せつけられて、今の俺は何を否定すりゃいいんだよ。もうわかんねえ。前回もそうだが、このイーカス的なマジカルバトルをどう否定すりゃいいんだよ。
だよな。こんなの見ちまったらもう言い逃れはできねえもんな。さあバトラー、とんでも推理を聞かせてくれよ。
お嬢様、笑いに品がございませんよ。
おお、これはすまぬ。しかしわらわの責任ではないぞ。何しろバトラにキューッと両目を固く閉じてキリキリギリギリ歯ぎしりするなんとも悔しそうなその表情を見せられると、自然とわらわの口からこぼれてしまうものでな。
さあバトラ様、くじけずにテーブルへお戻りを。お嬢様はバトラ様の反撃を期待されておりますよ。
ふざけるな。何をどう反論すりゃいいってんだ。まずあの塔が地面から生えてきたあたりからもうめちゃくちゃだろうが。実は六軒島の地下に合体変形巨大ロボの秘密研究所でもあって、ボタン一つでおかしな塔が生えてくるってのか。ああ、それならあのでけえ巨人どもはきっとロボットだぜ。あるいは悪の秘密結社のメカ怪獣かもな。わけわかんねえよ。俺に話しかけるんじゃねえ。うわ
ー、ほらほらほらほら、泣くなよ。魔法でドッカンドッカン。そなたが望むなら月だって砕くし、水星を雨のようにだって降らすさ。お前好みのムチムチ姉ちゃんで島を埋め尽くしてやってもいいんだぜ。さあさあ、ほらほらほら、わらわの出番は終わったぜ。受け手をさせよ、反撃しろよ。できねえだろ。できねえのは船長も承知よ。お前こういうのダメだもんな。こういうファンタジー本当は大好きなんだもんな。知ってんだよ。今時こんなの巷にいくらでも溢れてるじゃねえか。漫画に小説、アニメに映画。10代くらいのガキンチョたちがおかしな特殊能力いっぱい持ってて、世界の命運かけてドッカンバッカンやるやつ。お前も大好きだもんな。知ってんだよ。隠すなよ。大好きじゃねえかよ。 そのお前の大好きなやつがちょいと目の前で披露されただけじゃねえかよ。どうして漫画やアニメのそれは信じてくれるのにわらわのだけ信じてくれねえんだよ。信じろよ信じろよ信じちまえよ。反論なんかできねえさ。こうして見せられちまったんだからな。ほらほらほらほら返事をしろよ。思考はいらねえ。素直に「ごめんなさいベアトリーチェ様」って言えいいんだよ。ほらほら言ってみろ。ごめんなさいベアトリーチェ様って言ってみろよ。言えよ言えよ恥ずかしがるなよ。
That was a big fight. Crazy. Bye.